Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. As always, 5 questions, 4 questions today from our clients and one from a prospect. This is Patrick. I'm Josh. You ready to go?
Yep.
All right. So it's Wednesday, June 11th, and yesterday we made a broadcast to our clients with the recommendation to lock in basis. So that always leads to a lot of activity whenever we put out broadcast. And yesterday's most popular question was, knowing that we used the July contract, why lock in basis for what will probably be around a week?
Okay, several reasons. First of all, it's July corn, old crop, we're selling. Okay, we're going to make the sale final by locking in the future side probably by next by next Wednesday. It's really dangerous to carry things over to July or old crop. Really dangerous because now you're up to September month, front month becomes September. End users use that. They can manipulate bases any way they want. To lock in bases, when we had a big move down, we saw the national average basis, according to VAR charts, go to plus 17 cents. This morning's at plus 13 cents with a little bit of rally we had yesterday. So we expect if the market goes back up in futures, which we're expecting to happen for several reasons, the basis will just kind of continue to slip. We've been selling cash crop on old crop for a while around the 450 mark. So if futures go down, driven by funds to ridiculous levels like it was beginning of this week at 430, we're still selling cash at 450. We rally back up to 450. Cash is still at 450. So futures are not dominate the game right now. Farmer selling and commercial buying is, and that fair price is 450 right now. So we took advantage. Okay, that's a great advantage to be able to take. Locking basis at 17 cents. We rallied back up. Now we got a cash price of 467. If we don't rally back up and just say, well, we still got 450.
Nope, I'm still using every tool at our disposal and try to get this last sale for old crop as good as it can be.
Yeah, and let me add that is the national average basis. Everyone's basis is different.
Well, that's a good segue because the next question, that's, I believe, comes from someone who's maybe not in the area with advantageous amount of selling options, and asks, what do you consider a good basis, normal basis, or bad basis?
I don't consider a bad basis, a normal basis, or good basis for all farmers across the Midwest because every elevator, every demand in a local area is different. North Dakota, a good basis for corn could be minus 30 cents. A bad basis could be 70. In Indiana, you're not getting a positive basis. It's probably a bad basis. So I can't answer that question because it's local. That's what basis is. It's the local deviation off the national futures price based on local supply and demand. So we have to look deeper. One of the things that if I was a farmer, I'd be doing is I'd be tracking my local basis. I'd be looking every week. You can get your elevators basis by sent to you most places where you can get email what your basis is on a daily basis. That would be a great thing to keep track of. We monitor national basis, the average across the country. It's the only thing we can do to get a sense of what end users are doing. Are they buying or not?
Yeah, and we then track in basis. We do a lot more tracking online, so it's out there for everyone to see. But in general, what we're looking at is times when basis appears to be better scattered around in all these regions than it otherwise would be. So yeah, if it's 20 cents better than it usually is, let's take advantage of it. Even if that means going from minus 40 to minus 20, at least we're getting you the best we can for your area. And that appears to be something that looks like we were topping out yesterday. It's actually narrowed this morning. So our timing looks pretty good on that. But yeah, we had seen that basis had been improving for a few weeks, and I thought that might be coming to an end.
And there are seasonal trends across the Midwest on basis. For example, early part of planting, wheat basis is usually pretty good. Selling the new crop, last 2 weeks of December, basis is almost always pretty tight at that across the nation. Now, that may mean 20 cents positive in Indiana and 30 cents negative in North Dakota, but that's better. 50 cents negative or even.
Exactly. Okay. This question is about getting back to trade deals. It says, what odds do you give Trump getting the trade agreement with China back in place?
No time restrictions, 100%. Okay, we're going to get a deal. Will it be next year or a month from now? I think in the next month, we have about a 70% chance of Trump getting the deal, maybe a little bit better. Both countries, whether they admit it or not, are hurting with the trade tariffs in place right now. It behooves both countries to come to an agreement.
Yeah, Trump faces a lot of pressure from the businesses and the stock market. As soon as things look bad, the stock market, all kinds of things tank here. But in China, their economies for certain, their consumer demand is really, really low. Their citizens, their people are not buying anything. I think the very fact that it's this far along and seemingly further along than a lot of the other deals we thought would be done by now shows the urgency's there. So yes, we give it no timeline, 100%. It's gonna get done. All right, how do you feel about AI as a tool for weather? Is it something you're putting much stock in?
Why, I really hope so, because I think there's so many variables that affect weather. If you watch the weather, and we're so dependent on what the weather is going to do in the summer. For months, we heard how hot and dry the season was going to be. I don't think they took in consideration, the fires and the smoke in the air in Canada. Maybe that has changed things. I don't know. But all of a sudden, after being hot and dry for the whole year, now we're hot and dry in the second half of the year, and now some models are leaking the other way. Well, if you don't like the weather forecast, wait a week, okay? Because it changes. We have seen this stuff change so often, it's not funny. I've been paying attention a lot to the AI model that comes out every day almost for the next 2 weeks. According to Eric Snodgrass, one of the weather guys we pay attention to, the AI model in the second week has performed the best. I think he'll get better and better and better, and hopefully with the billions of pieces of information that has to go into weather forecasting, they will get better. But right now they stink. Okay, going a month out, you could have a forecaster saying hot and dry. You could have a forecaster saying wet. Neither one could be right? I believe this year that we're going to have enough risk in the market, whether it's too wet in some places, too dry in some places, too hot in others, that we're going to have enough risk during the month of July, during pollination, to see weather premium be put into prices. I have never expected a drought. I expect periods of hot and dry in July. Wow, that's genius, right? It's going to be hot and dry in July somewhere in the United States. That usually adds some weather premium. That's what we want to take advantage of.
Yeah, to build off what you're saying, I'm a big believer in AI as well. The fact that weather has so many variables and so much history and patterns, it's more than a person. Obviously, people have been using computers, but AI can process all this information so much quicker, eventually in an instant, where it can see patterns and the things that have happened over being fed 100 years of data. I think AI eventually is going to be able to put the puzzle pieces together a little bit better. But weather's always a change then. They're just looking for that improvement to get more accurate, and I think AI can get it. They're one of the useful, not everything might be useful with AI, but I would imagine that would be one of them.
Well, what you just said meant to do a follow-up question, okay? Why not in trading then?
Yeah, potentially.
And I'll tell you what the difference is.
Yeah.
Emotion. AI cannot measure human emotions. It can take all the variables into place, can't measure emotion. Trading, put your money up, has emotion. Weather doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and last question for this week. Talked to a couple prospects that kind of had the exact same question. We talked about locking in basis on this old crop corn sale yesterday. The natural question was, would you recommend selling old crop beans at this time as well? And if so, would you use the same strategy?
No, not the same strategy. It's a different market, different place right now. We export way more soybeans and corn. We're way more dependent. If you look at the price patterns of old crop and new crop beans right now, we've been pretty stagnant for a pretty long period of time. 1020, 1060, kind of in that range. What are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting for the fact that we need a deal with exports. We are having fantastic domestic demand with soybeans, but we need exports. I think we're going to get those deals. And when that happens, we have potential to rally significantly because beans are a terrible price. The other variable is the fact that we're not growing any beans this year. Okay, our supply, our new production is going to be way down compared to the last couple of years. And the difference between corn and beans is you can go from 2 billion to 1.2 bountiful supply to pipeline. And in beans, you can go from 300 to 150 and not have enough. And that's like 2 bushels, okay? Take 2 bushels off the expected yield and you're below pipeline. That's why beans are so volatile. We need 52.5 to get through the year and not see $17 beans. That's why we're holding off. Okay, we drop a bushel and a half or a bushel, or we have the potential to drop more because of hot, dry weather later in the year, which is more dangerous for beans. We could really rally. Okay, don't think that's going to happen. However, I do think there's going to be some risk added, and $11 beans I think will be cheap.
Yeah, too much potential there to basically sell for what's out there right now.
Right.
Okay, well, that's all for this week. Thank you, everybody. As always, if you want to have a question answered by us, please submit it to adminstaff@hedge-plus.com. Have a great week, everyone.
Take care.